Hello, everyone. This is John Jenkins here, and I wanted to bring another video. Uh, I was thinking that I really, I really love reading about business. You know, I love reading about business, and uh, you know, I really love, you know, just it's my favorite subject. Uh, in general, I prefer nonfiction books, you know, versus fiction books. You know, because not because of the not because of the promise of getting rich, but well, not like I've said before, I'm a very money. I'm a, I'm obsessed with money. You know, so I love money. You know, but it's not just the promise of making money that makes nonfiction books uh, more exciting. Uh, it's more so than that. It's the fact that nonfiction books tend to tell a better, more compelling, more interesting story than fiction books do. Why is that? Well, because in a nonfiction story, like I read the story of, I read my favorite book of 2015, which was The Grid. I read uh, last year, and it told a story about how Nikola Tesla would start off as one of Thomas Edison's employees, uh, and then became his rival. And then it tells the story about how the electrical grid in the United States got started. It even tells a story of the moon landing and stuff like that. Sort of the real story of American enterprise. And it was very like I mean it was such an interesting story. Why are nonfiction stories more interesting? Well, another book that to make the point, another book that I read last year, I didn't finish it. I started reading. It was The Firm, yeah, The Firm by John Grisham, and and it was a very dramatic book, a very onerous sort of plot. But the problem with most fiction books is that uh, it's I think that I forget the definition, but I think the term is myopic. Uh, Basically, the problem with fiction stories is that the author seems to think that the entire world revolves around their main character in the story. It's it happens pretty much in every fiction story you read, whether it's Peter Pan or Night Watch by Linda Fairstein is another good example. It in the world, it's like in the world in the world of the main character, basically in the story, like the entire world stops on a dime just for that main character. It's like you know different characters will maneuver themselves uh, into different positions just for the benefit of the main character. Like nature will uh, uh, change itself. The seasons will change themselves to fit the main character's taste, and you see this in pretty much every fiction story. But with nonfiction, it's more interesting because all of the things that exist in this world are uh, the complex. It's a complex setting, which is the real world. Nothing is going. Things don't go so uh, predictably for the main character because there are many different systems at play, and there's a whole bunch of random occurrences and stuff like that. So I mean, nonfiction is better because of that. For that reason alone, nonfiction is better storytelling than fiction. Uh, you know, and that's my favorite subject to read. And I was thinking that I should start a business. Now, for those of you who see my Kickstarters, you know, I tried like different ways that I thought I could, make some money, and so I you know, I I I I haven't, I have sold, things. I recently my Kickstarter for the Black James Bond just finished, and I got 26 backers. So but I definitely want to, be in business in the future. And the thing about me is that I'm a serial entrepreneur. I'm a serial entrepreneur. And people are telling me, no, you have to pick one thing and do that one thing forever. No, I'm more like Donald Trump. I'll probably have 500 different companies by the time this is done. Because like there are so many things you can do with your life. Every time I read a book, I come up with a new interest. It's torture for me to have to do the same thing every day, all day. You know, I really like. I'm a serial entrepreneur, so and if you notice, the type of businesses I try to start, you know, I basically came out of the gate. Well, I started. I really started going into business back in like 2007 when I got, somebody when I made my first logo for somebody. I didn't get paid for it, but you know, and you can go to 2010 when I advertised as a graphic designer. But yeah, uh, I I I I don't, but nowadays, as a 2016, I really do business. I come with business ideas that really just try to, revolutionize the world. Basically trying to, outdo everyone in history. You know, I just try to think of what's the one thing that nobody's doing, nobody's thinking of, and I try to do it that way. I don't necessarily go for whatever uh, makes the most money. Though I love money. Um, so that was just an observation. As time goes on, I'll try to increase my business and Kickstarter, enterprise, and yeah, it's really much harder when you're trying to start from literally nothing, where to where you you when you do a Kickstarter, I mean, when I did my Kickstarter, I started with a budget of zero. Fortunately for me, I didn't have to pay any startup fees, or it didn't cost me money to start a Kickstarter. So I got started with $0, and just try to go from there. Uh, so I mean, that was just an observation. Let me know what you think. About business. You know, are you interested in businesses? You know. Um, yeah. So have a nice day. Bye.